So in your chart, the moon and the sun make a little bit of a contact with each other. And whenever the sun and the moon contact each other, sometimes there's a turning point. So you've got the moon moving across the bottom of your chart, which talks about some waxing and waning, some shifts in your foundation. March and April looks like you are moving in a new direction. There will be some sort of fundamental change.
Yeah, we're feeling it right now. And I can only imagine how it's going to be in January, February, and March, but we'll just accept it and just run with it.
Hello and a warm aloha. I'm Alice Inoue, guiding you through the interplay of astrology and real-life stories in Following Journeys. Are you curious about how the stars and planets impact our lives? Let's uncover these secrets together by charting the astrological routes of Hawaii's business minds, using their birth details as our navigational tools. Join me in unraveling how celestial movements mirror our personal and professional evolution. The journey begins now.
Every single person on Earth was born on a certain day, at an exact time, and in a specific place. Using this information, we can create a map of the sky showing the planetary positions at the time of birth. This map, also known as a birth chart, shows information about the person and their life themes and cycles. Astrology has been used as a tool for guidance since ancient times, with civilizations looking to the stars for answers as far back as 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. Today, Alice uses this ancient wisdom to provide insights and clarity. Many people doubt that astrology is for real and readily dismiss it as a hoax. Can astrology really tell us things about ourselves and our life events? Is there some truth to the planets having an influence on our lives? Our episode today will invite you into a private session, allowing you unprecedented access to view the process by which a chart is delineated. You can decide for yourself if astrology is something to dismiss or if it's for real. Today's guest is Jan Hori.
I'm Jan Hori. I'm the co-owner and co-founder at the Hawaiian Pie Company. I handle the day-to-day operations of the bakery here in Honolulu. Basically, I'm the person that oversees sales and marketing and operations. My husband and my son handle all the production work within the facility. We are a generational bakery. We are third and fourth generation bakers here. We are known for our 3-pound pies and baked goods. They feature Hawaii's finest flavors, I guess you could say, the tropical flavor line.
According to Jan's time, location, and day of birth, her sun is in Virgo, her moon is in Pisces, and she has an Aries Rising. Virgos are known for their humility, reliability, and orderliness, but they can also be overly critical, pessimistic, and judgmental. Pisces Moon individuals are compassionate, selfless, and imaginative. However, when off balance, they tend to be overly trusting, avoidant, and self-sacrificing. Aries Rising brings energy, confidence, and courage to the personality, but they can also be overly competitive, hot-tempered, and impulsive. Alice will spend time with Jan and share what she sees in her chart. Alice's reading style leans towards highlighting the positive aspects rather than pointing out negative features. By doing so, she helps individuals optimize their innate talents and potential. Let's see if Jan relates to Alice's depiction of her personality.
Jan, I'm so happy that we get to do your chart today.
I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
You've heard of astrology like astrological signs, right? Yes. And do you know what your sign is?
Yep, I do.
What is it?
Virgo.
Okay, you're Virgo. See, you're very, very close. There's something called, people say, oh, I'm on the cusp. But in astrology, there's no such thing as a cusp. You're either one or the other. So you're at the very last degree of Virgo. In the 6th house, you see, there's lots of planets here. all houses represent many things, but it represents work and service, kind of like what you do on a day-to-day basis. And the sign of Virgo is the sign of someone who does like to provide service. So I'm going to talk a lot about you, and then you can tell me like if you relate or don't relate. So that's the first thing. I said, wow, she's got a stellium. That's an all or nothing energy, and like this is like I'm either all in or I'm all out. But being that you're a very strong Virgo, lots of planets in the 6th house, I do know that there is attention to detail. It's also a detailed house, so I would imagine that you like things to be a certain way. This is also really just genuinely wanting to serve, wanting to help, being of service. Does that relate to you?
Yes, it does.
You do? How have you seen it played out in your life?
You know, people always ask me to, you know, could you help us here or do something with that? And it's kind of hard to say no sometimes.
Yes. I can tell you why. Okay, so the Virgo is the helpful part. So this is where I would imagine if someone needed help, you're like, yes, I'm here, I'd love to help you, naturally. So the second thing that's important is the moon sign. And your moon is in the sign of Pisces. Now, Pisces is a water sign. Virgo is an earth sign. Pisces is that very compassionate side of you, that part of you that usually people say if you have that Pisces energy, it's hard to draw boundaries because you are just willing to help. It's kind of like a nonprofit energy, like wanting to serve and help. So with your Virgo and with all of that Pisces that you have, I would imagine that a little bit harder to draw boundaries.
Yeah, it is.
Always wanting to be of service and help.
Exactly. And, you know, with anything major that happens, people come to us and ask us for help. It's kind of hard to say no.
Yeah.
We're always kind of, willing to do whatever we can in situations.
Yeah, right? So I noticed that you have these two planets here. This is Mercury and this is Mars, and they're very close together. Mercury, you might have heard of Mercury retrograde, like when everything seems to go backwards. So Mercury is the planet that governs or rules the mind and thinking and communication. And Mars is about pushing that forward. So Mars, think of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, that testosterone, that masculine energy. So when you have this tells me that you're somebody who really loves to give birth to new ideas, because 7th house, it's the house of collaboration, it's the house of partnership. So would you say that you enjoy like brainstorming ideas, moving them forward with people that you are in concert with?
Definitely, and I actually used it a lot when I was working as a director of marketing and promotions at the paper.
Oh, yes.
So doing the creative, kind of meeting with people, doing a lot of partnerships. And, again, it's got to be a win-win when you do a partnership. So everybody's on the same page. And, doing the creative was fun. You're mapping everything out and the promotion itself and watching it spin.
Right. That totally makes sense. I love to sometimes put archetypes to some of the different positions and planets. And so when someone has really strong 6th house, really strong Virgo, that is like the archetype of what I would call the everyday girl, the everyday guy, somebody who is willing to just be on the street. Like no matter how much money, power, prestige you had, you would still talk to the limo driver, right? You would still... This is like the we the people energy.
Right.
Do you feel like you have that? Like we the people, like if you're a boss, which you are, but it's not like I'm going to drink wine while you guys sit there and clean up the shop. You're in there doing it with them.
Every day. See?
That's
every single day.
So that everyday girl. Then this Moon in Pisces and the 12th house gives you what I call the magician archetype. So the magician is someone that either amazes people or confuses them. So in other words, the ability to pull it out of a hat. So people might say to you, how did you do what you did? Or how did this happen? And you're almost like, I don't know, I just pulled it out of the hat. Do you see that?
Yes. I've seen it a few times, but it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, but everyone's like, how did you get your pies into all these stores? Like really, when I read about what you've done, I'm just like amazed at how much you've done in such a short time. That makes sense to me, that magician energy. You're rising, that Aries, I call that the hero energy. And so if I describe it to you, it's not like you think you're a hero, but it's the idea that you love to save people, come in and save the day. And that would give you great joy when someone needs something and you're like, I have it, or I can do it. And then you don't draw your boundary strong enough and you go all out and you do it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, Jan, thank you so much. Do you feel like that gives you great joy?
It does.
That's the hero energy. And it's always just willing to help those who need help. So most of your chart really is all about like this helpfulness, this ability to run with the punches, brainstorm ideas, move them forward, collaboration, having things be fair looks important to you. And then there's this beautiful ability to see the bigger picture and to come down. So from the micro to the macro, that's not really common. Sometimes we're either really, really picky, we can't see the forest for the trees. Other times we're too much out in space and we don't really know how to take those ideas and ground them in real world living. And then your Aries Rising gives you that sort of ability to go, come on, let's go. It's a courageous side. Because there's one so like the Virgo and the Pisces can feel a little insecure at times, but then your Aries Rising, that Aries is really that part that says, okay, you know what, let me just jump in and do it.
Yeah.
Does that describe you?
That's kind of it. And sometimes projects will stall and it's like, okay, how can we make this go? You know, so you try to just kind of sit there and analyze everything and try to figure out, you know, what's the easiest, best way to get to the results you want to get.
Yeah.
The birth chart is basically a picture of the sky at the moment of birth, and as you just saw, can be translated to show the traits and characteristics of an individual. After we are born, though, the planets continue to transit the solar system. As they do, they make contact with various aspects of our birth charts. Alice will now go back in time and see if Jan's chart timing correlates with past events in her life. Doing so will help Alice also confirm if her birth time is accurate.
Okay, so I love doing this part because it helps me to understand like where you've been, because there's some changes that are coming up for you that I want to share with you, and this will really help us link it back. So I'm going to start with 2003. So I'm looking at, it's kind of started around June of 2003. Saturn crossed the 4th. Did you move? Did you have any kind of change in where you lived? Did somebody move in, somebody move out? Did you have a child?
Oh, that was when my father wasn't well.
Okay.
So we ended up having to renovate our house.
Okay, great. Saturn is the planet of construction and structure, and whenever Saturn crosses the bottom of your chart, fourth house, the fourth house represents the home. So construction or structure in the home, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, we renovated.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so then you have a lot of that. So what happened in 06 into 07? What was emotionally challenging? What I'm looking at is Uranus conjuncting the moon. It started in the beginning of 2006. It peaked in March. So this would have been instability, emotional up and down, or just running all over the place.
I actually left a job that was kind of stressful.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, let's just move forward a bit. Okay, here, let's go down here. Here, 2011, 2012. Where did you break free? So I'm looking at Uranus, which is the planet of change, midheaven. So midheaven is your business.
2011, I think that's when we created the bakery.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. So that started taking over my life.
Okay, yes. All right, because 2013 pretty much shows there's a bigger vision. You're transcending out of something into bigger something. What was the bigger thing?
So once we created the company, we said, okay, if we could find a location for the bakery, and that was kind of stressful because just locating properties was a rough goal.
What kind of bakery?
It's a pie company that are my husband's family. They were known for their pies, their butter pies from on the Big Island, and then we decided, we'll take it, create a new bakery, and we're known for our pies that talk about Hawaii itself.
I love your pies. Yes, I knew it was a pie company.
So we started doing that, and so we figured, okay, people were like, you got to do it. My husband was getting ready to retire in 2014.
Yeah. Oh.
So I told him if everything falls together, and it did. All the pieces came together. between 2011 and 2014. So we got financing, we were able to find a location. Yeah, it was very busy.
It was a lot. And so it shows up as really busy, but it also kind of shows up as there's just, as I'm looking into 2016, 2017, there's just so many change after change. I mean, I don't even know if you're going to be able to detail this, but 2017, how did you become more of an authority? How did you step up? How did things turn a corner for you?
Which is interesting because that's when we started working with Hawaiian Airlines.
Oh, totally interesting.
So we provided all the desserts for the first class, page, the business class, on all flights leaving the state of Hawaii.
Oh, that must have been a lot.
It was interesting, and figuring it all out, trying to make sure that we got product to the outer islands as well as to Honolulu. That was a challenge.
It's a big deal.
It was a big deal.
Because look at this. So the moon opposes the sun. Here it says August 31st, 2017. The moon opposes the sun. The moon squares the midheaven. The moon crosses the first house. Saturn crosses the top. Like, this just tells me that you are stepping up. Like, there are changes. You've sort of closed one chapter, entering a new chapter, and it should have gone well, because as I look in 2018, there's a real positive flow to work. So I would imagine it was quite successful. Okay, now we're getting more to the present, and we'll get into the future in a moment.
Okay.
Do you remember anything? And I'm looking at the last quarter, 2022, anywhere the last half of 2022. Did you make any kind of changes there, or did any changes happen in your life? It could be personal. Did you have, anybody new in the family?
Right. So 22 is interesting because my daughter was pregnant during that time, and she was carrying twins. So it was a lot of changing
of roles and responsibilities. Yeah.
Right, and everybody had to prepare for the kids' arrival in early 23. But just, it was a lot because there's two of them.
And then you have all your business stuff that you're doing.
So we were adjusting everything knowing that they were coming along, and knowing that it's a family business. So everybody had to step up in their role, or has to step up in their role, and also, take on other responsibilities to cover when we're not there. Yeah. You have to,
I can't imagine.
this, and then employees are jumping in, and because even our employees are part of our family, so they've all stepped up and tried to
totally
adjust.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this gives me a good understanding that you actually follow your cycles, because there's a couple, I might refer back to it as I talk about what's coming up. So let's move into the forecast portion.
Okay.
In the next segment, Alice will forecast Jan's future themes using a unique energy calendar she created. This visual tool maps out the timing of key themes over the coming months and years. Each line or block of color on the calendar represents a different planetary influence. Pink forecasts potential changes, blue highlights periods of support and opportunity, and green lines denote a variety of other themes. Let's see what Jan's future has in store for her.
The reason I was questioning you so much on some of the past stuff is because I see like a repeating pattern here, and I want to know, first of all, do you even know about it? And if you don't, let's talk about what it could be. So what it looks like to me is, as you enter January, February, March of 2024, so first quarter, now here we are, basically last couple months left of the end of 2023. So in your chart, the moon and the sun make a little bit of a contact with each other. And whenever the sun and the moon contact each other, sometimes there's a turning point. And do you remember earlier how I said the bottom of the chart is considered the home or the foundation? So you've got the moon moving across the bottom of your chart, which talks about some waxing and waning, some shifts in your foundation. So my first thing is to kind of let you know, if you've been wanting and looking for an exit off the freeway, some kind of change, you'll definitely see it there. You might be thinking about it, not knowing exactly how it's going to happen, but what will happen is the answers will come. So I'm just first going to ask you, do you know of anything changing for you first quarter 2024? And if not, it's fine. I just want to know if you have any hints of it at all.
Nothing other than we're getting ready to extend our lease.
Okay.
So that would be where we are at the bakery.
Okay. And then when does that lease extension need to happen?
We're working on it right now. So it's
So if it extends, then you'll stay in the same place.
Correct.
And it'd be no big deal.
Correct.
But if it doesn't extend, you would be looking for a new location.
Correct.
You will know very shortly. I'm going to say January, February, you'll kind of know, because notice how, and I'm calling this energy 11, 12, and 13. This is just for identification purposes only. Notice how I put a little asterisk there, because asterisks denote like this is something where I think you're going to see some change. And I put a little compass, north, south, east, west, with some question marks. And you see the peak. The peak is here in early March, April. March and April looks like you are moving in a new direction. There will be some sort of fundamental change simply because I see Saturn, energy 14 up here. Saturn is the planet of restructuring. Moon represents our home, like where we're at. Saturn and Pluto is also some kind of change, some kind of transformation. I wouldn't be surprised if you if it's I'll use the word dramatic, or I'll use the word memorable. So it doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be that if in 5 years I ask you, Jan, what happened in first quarter of 2024, you'll have a story to tell that you will remember, because this is pretty significant. Well, I think I have really good news for you, because from what I can see, the blue is the planetary connections that represent, I call it like clear blue skies, like where you have opportunity from the universe, where you'll see things naturally expand. And just look at this stair step. So here we are in November of 2023, basically. As you move to the right, notice how the blue just increases by stair step by stair step. So this is expansion energy. This is you gaining more. So it really looks like your big shift, first quarter 2024, you make some sort of a shift. I'll just say, I can't really predict, but I wouldn't be surprised if what you're dreaming, hoping, wishing for happens. It just looks like a natural, pretty big, kind of a big deal here of turning, but it looks extremely favorable, extremely productive. And I'm going to use the word transformational. I'm going to use words, and I'm using words based on the planets. Opportunities will come. So I wouldn't be surprised if something that's not even available to you now, like when we catch up with you next year and just see where you're at, that you'll say, oh my God, Alice, something that we didn't expect happened. So I would just say, be really open to everything, attached to nothing, because it does look like this is your next stair step into another level. So if I go through a little bit more detail here, energy 11, 12, and 13, these are very similar, and this is where I'm saying January through April, there should be some sort of turning point.
Okay.
And as you move into May and June, you see how energy 6 starts up here in May and June, and it goes all the way until April of 2026. This is a 2-year-long energy. So Mars is, remember how I said Mars is action? Mars is part of your ascendant. You have that Aries, which is let's go. And Pluto represents transformation and change. So this looks like you'll be working hard to kind of reach that next level, like whatever that is for your business. Because I know you started it like maybe 10, 12 years ago.
It's going to be 10 years.
10
shortly.
years.
Yeah, next year.
Next year. So you'll see in your 10th year, you're going to be willing to fight for it. I'm going to use that word, like fight for it. You'll be able to fight, not with your, but sort of like fight for what you want, to see what you need, because Pluto is a planet of power, transformation, so almost like stepping into your power and evolving to that next level. And so I would just say from about May, June of 2024, for a good 2 years, you'll be navigating the underworld and you'll be in a whole new place.
It makes me afraid right here with all that pink, because it's a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, I can see it already. It's starting. I can feel it actually. I can feel certain things because we're hitting into the holidays.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's November next week or what have you. So, yeah, we're feeling it right now. And I can only imagine how it's going to be in January and February and March. But we'll just accept it and just run with it, you know?
Yeah. You know, and I think what I can offer too is like, when we see something in the future, we have that, we always, not always, but we tend to see the downside of it. We tend to be like, oh my God, like I want change, but I don't want change, or I don't want to be overwhelmed. But once you hit it, you'll just pick it up, because as you see, you're stair stepping into all this really great energy. So you'll have people, support. And as you know, you've been through very hectic times in the past, and you can get through. So I think it'll just be a matter of fact, and it will come at the right time in the right place. I'm pretty sure you will look back and say, this needed to happen, and I'm glad it happened?
Yeah, I'm really, sure it will be okay.
It will be. Just call me up.
I know. But actually, this is when we started James Beard.
Oh, tell me about James Beard.
I was selected to be James Beard Woman Entrepreneur Leader.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So that's a fellowship.
Yes.
And so my commitment started as of January of this year,
And
which
what does
rides that blue
What
line.
does that mean, a fellowship? What do you get from it?
So we basically, they educate us through Cornell, and that's all done already. And things we combine with other women entrepreneurs in the industry, and we kind of support each other, but we also, grow together, I guess you could say. So
so that power of Pluto and that
it's
power
nice,
thing.
yeah.
Yes.
And then a couple months ago or a month ago, we became a part of Bank of America's Seneca Women. So we're part of their marketplace. So
What does that mean?
well, they picked 100 women entrepreneurs with their products. And it's a global movement now.
Oh
so
my
we all
God.
support each other that way. So
I
don't know if
didn't know that.
line
Chicken
is-
skin. I didn't know that. You're under global energy, so it's just going to be more.
So
does this
yeah.
open up opportunities for you?
Very random, actually, on that
See,
one.
and nothing is random, right? Synchronicity. Everything happens at exactly the right time, exactly when it needs
Right.
to. Wow. So now this is also going to help support your business, right, going forward?
It'll help us get our brand out
Yeah.
into a bigger field, I guess you could
Bigger
say.
marketplace. Yeah. You'll just see 2025 is going to be a pretty big year for you. So your 2024 is just really set up, and you'll get a really, let's just say, like Monopoly, go around, go, happens first quarter 2024. But it looks really favorable, Jan, and it just looks like you'll have all the support you need to grow.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm actually excited about next year.
Yeah, I can see
At least
why.
I know what to look for.
Yes, you do. And if you have any problems, just let me know.
I will.
More than half a year has passed since Alice gave Jan her reading and predicted some events for her. Let's catch up with Jan and see if anything that Alice had forecasted for her has come to pass.
2024 has been incredible, but also crazy. Speaking with investors that we never thought we were even on the map for, I mean, that was an eye-opener for us. We were shipping, but on a smaller scale. We finally signed the paperwork. We are going to be doing Go Belly. So yes, we will be on Go Belly within the next few months, if not sooner. So that is a big one. We've extended our lease, so that was another thing. So we're going to be here for another so many years. So we're kind of happy because that settles where we're going to go from here. Because my daughter had the twins last year, we've had to kind of shuffle our roles as a family. So my son-in-law now isn't here physically as often, so we've had to move people into his role, yet he does a lot of things behind the scenes now. And in the meantime, I have been spending more time at home just trying to help with daycare. So there's a lot going on. There's been a lot the last 3 months. The surprise was that through the chaos, because there's so much coming at us, there's a lot of chaos, I was able to actually take it as, I was pretty calm about it, which I was surprised by. A lot of times, when those things happen, you just kind of react, you don't kind of evaluate what is what and assess, why is this happening? But because I had the reading, it made such a big difference, because it was like, oh, okay, so this is the first quarter. It's going to be kind of crazy. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, maybe. I really believe in the astrological forecast. It really helped me kind of hone in on things. You're writing out your business plan, you're planning ahead and looking to the future. We're really grateful for this.
As we wrap up today's episode, let's cherish the thought. Each entrepreneur's journey is a starlit story waiting to be read. I'm Alice Inoue, inviting you to join me again as we voyage through more celestial narratives of Hawaii's business talents. Aloha.